The Queensland Government passed new laws this week to protect workers from discrimination, vilification, sexual harassment, victimisation and other unlawful behaviours. Sounds great, as all these keeping us safe laws do. The Queensland Labor State Government under Stephen Miles says the new Respect at Work laws will protect workers against sexual discrimination and harassment and challenge attitudes that lead to domestic and family violence. What nebulous waffle. Firstly, what sort of sex discrimination are they talking about? Do they support biological women over non-biological trans men who want to be considered women? We've seen how dangerous all that is in the federal courts with the Giggle versus Tickle case. The retailers seem happy about these laws, by the way. The fashion industry news site Rag Trader reports on the laws positively. The Australian Retailers Association and National Retail Association have both welcomed the Respect at Work laws, but they said more needs to be done. ARA CEO Paul Zara said the industry would like to see specific penalties for people who are abusive or aggressive towards retail workers. Right, so complain about bad service a little too loudly and you're off to jail. Be nice or else. The laws include an aggravating sentencing factor. So if you're an adult offender and you've acted violently or caused physical harm to a person in their workplace, you'll get extra time for the crime. New South Wales, South Australia and WA already have those laws in place. The new laws also include a positive duty on employers, because employers aren't already drowning in duties, to take reasonable and proportionate measures to eliminate discrimination, sexual harassment and other unlawful conduct under the Anti-Discrimination Act 1991. And the time limit for making a complaint to the Queensland Human Rights Commission about matters of harassment and discrimination will be extended from 1 year to 2 years. Fantastic stuff. More government intervention to keep us safe and well. We might start with you this time, Rob. I mean, what do you make of this wonderful new Queensland law?
Well, I think it's great that as a straight white male, I finally have some recourse for discrimination.
How so? How so?
Against quotas, or maybe the Christians can, anti-Christian sentiment can take the... No, look, it's just another... you have to hand it to the left. They're always very prepared to use the law to rule.
Yeah.
To always go on the offensive with their ideological agenda. We're always trying to, stay neutral, and the institutions and the law should be neutral, but the left are always trying to push their ideologies onto people, and unfortunately they're, slowly getting away with it.
They're pretty dumb though, because as you point out, this can all work the other way around.
It can, but once again, isn't there this subjectivity that underlies it? There has to be some sort of decidability where someone goes, that doesn't qualify as misinformation or harassment if you call someone, discriminated with a hiring quota against straight white males or something like that.
Yeah. So basically, Scott, I guess what Rob's saying is that it puts it in the hands of a bureaucrat to do the deciding of what is or isn't hate speech or vilification.
Yeah, which is, as you know, very dangerous, Damien. Just the terms misinformation and disinformation, like you follow that through to its logical conclusion, it means that there's information. If it's mis or dis, does that mean somebody else has to verify whether it's misinformation or disinformation?
And in the case of this sort of vilification law, it's even worse, right? Because what is hate speech? How do you define hate speech, Graham?
Well, you can't. It's a totally subjective view. What may be hate speech to someone is love speech to another.
Yep.
Don't ask me for an exact example of that, but you get the general point. It's a subjective definition. But overall, this legislation really will have zero impact in the workplace. It's just a piece of bullshit stuff that comes through. It's in the same line, creates a whole new set of raft of the bits and pieces, the disgruntled bullying employees, and we have some of those. Who can then another excuse to attack the employers, and of course the old-fashioned thinking in the labour movement was that by doing this you then are able to go in there and negotiate and get more union membership. But I don't think any of that's going to happen. This was entirely political. Look at the timing of this. There's an election coming up in a month's time. So this is...
Well, it was the last sitting of Parliament, and they rammed it through in like the 11th hour. the final thing that they put through, and it's this far-reaching, scary stuff.
Well, the LNP won't have, and they've done it because they predict correctly that the LNP won't have any idea how to handle it.
Right.
They will have said absolutely nothing about this other than, oh dear, it's dreadful, it's dreadful, it's dreadful.
Well, no, they haven't. I don't know that the
didn't do
opposition has said that. I haven't heard anything from David Christopherling, and we're sitting here. We're coming to you from Queensland at the moment. So I don't know any. When we shouldn't be able to miss it, really. If it's an election time, we should be hearing loud and clear.
It sounds
the
scary.
LNP.
Yeah, it sounds scary, but it won't work in the workplace. But it reminds all of the people that are on the right side of the conservative movement, don't have any time for these people because they won't fight for you on anything. So that was one of its reasons.
So the Emeritus Professor Gabriel Moens of the University of Queensland Law School, a very, very dignified guy, and he's been a smart man, and he wrote in the Spectator that this bill, which is called the Respect at Work and Other Matters, I love that, and Other Matters Amendment Bill 2024, was rammed through Parliament in the 11th hour of the final sitting. He says that in effect, the effect, if not the intention of the legislation, is to stifle the freedom of expression of Queenslanders. He says it's an example of the kind of social engineering legislation that Labor is keen to adopt. It's based on Labor's secular anti-discrimination ideology, a cultural belief that justifies and even requires the adoption of social arrangements that often abrogate the rights of people. And again, this is important to everybody in Australia because these laws exist in all states around our country. Rob?
The funny thing with a lot of these things is what the left does is they play frame games, they're linguistic games. So one of the disadvantages of conservative people is we're more productive. We work in systems, and we've talked about this sort of stuff before. The left works in the social arena. And so they split hairs, they do little framing games. And so one example of that would be if you said that, someone has male privilege or white privilege, that is, or, even calling someone racist when they're actually not, that is it's an attack, it's a social status attack, but it's disguised, it's framed as some sort of, intellectual critique, where it's actually pseudo-intellectual, but that's the way they navigate these things. And so because...
Jeez, it's dark, isn't it?
It's dark,
it's diabolical,
but,
really.
the right tends to be more productive, and so we're a bit more blind to these little social status framing, linguistic conflation games.
Right, so this is a skill that the left have got because they're very communal, social...
They navigate a social world.
And they work on an emotional and irrational level more. Right?
That's right.
Not that they're not
That's
rational.
right. And so, if I was in the driver's seat of a bill like this, I'd actually say it's hate speech to call people racist, because that is the modern version of a heretic. It's one of the worst things you can call someone, and it actually destroys people's lives. But
It's
they're
hate
actually
speech to call
not.
somebody a Nazi, which is at the crux of the Moira-deeming John Bazzuto
Exactly.
case, which we'll be talking about
Exactly.
later.
So
whether or not
isn't calling people Nazis, or that you've got white privilege, or that that Western civilization is racist or heteronormative. These are all things that could easily qualify as hate speech, because they are status attacks. They're undermining from the left, but they couch it in this as a pseudo-intellectual critique, and that's the way they navigate that, to set it up for conservatives to fail and fall afoul of these, but then give themselves exemptions. Well, no, that's just a critique. That's a Marxist critique, at the end of the day. But Marxism is undermining, so they move the goalposts for themselves, unfortunately.
Okay, here's what the laws actually say. And again, this is typical of laws similar around every state in Australia. Okay, but these Queensland laws say, under Section 124(1), a person must not, because of the age, gender identity, impairment, race, religion, sex characteristics, or sexual orientation of another person or a group of persons, engage in a public act that a reasonable person, the reasonable person test, no doubt, a reasonable person would consider hateful towards, reviling, seriously contemptuous of, or seriously ridiculing the other person or members of the group. This is scary, thought police, totalitarian stuff. Scott Pelto, you've been a copper. How do you decide who's a reasonable person and who isn't?
Well,
or what a reasonable person thinks, I should say.
There's actually a lot of legislation about a lot of case law about what a reasonable person is. But Damien, I would say, again, coming back to the fundamentals, the role of government and bureaucratic government must be limited. And this and all the measures we're discussing are an expansion of that role. When the state becomes more involved and spreads it's control, you move toward totalitarianism. And like Rob says, a lot of this is, deceptively veiled, with concepts that any reasonable person would agree with.
Yeah.
But these aren't issues in society today, not significant issues. Everything's an issue in pockets, but these are not massive social problems in 2024. What they are is a concerted movement of bureaucratic government in a direction to more control.
Yeah, it's just
without
let
any
us
doubt.
decide all these human things. It would have been normal human interactions that you would have sorted out amongst yourselves like grown-ups. We're going to be mummy and daddy, and we're going to come in and say, stop fighting, children, and here are the laws that you have to follow. Section 124B says, a public act includes any form of communication, including speaking, writing, displaying notices, playing of recorded material, broadcasting and communicating through social media and other electronic methods to the public. And any conduct, including actions and gestures, and wearing or displaying of clothing, so even a t-shirt, if you're wearing an inappropriate t-shirt, you're in trouble, signs, flags, emblems, and insignia observable by the public. I mean, I feel like I'm reading something out of a communist manifesto. It's bloody insane.
And they know the response from the LNP will be, of course we agree with all that. But
Well, the LNP's terrified. They stand up against sexism and against this, and you get accused of being, oh, you must be racist, you must be sexist, you must be a Nazi.
so
Why
they
doesn't that qualify as
automatically-
hate speech?
Yeah, like I say, they automatically agree, then say but, and then they've lost the argument, see, because they've agreed with what is essentially a false assumption, and then they want to argue the minutiae of the thing. So that's why it was introduced. In my view.
Right. So you think it's a political play to just create a wedge and divide and conquer. I love this bit here where they try and exclude things. 124C. It is lawful. It's okay though to do a public act done reasonably and in good faith. Again, very waffly subjective stuff for academic, artistic, scientific or research purposes or for other purposes in the public interest, including public discussion or debate about and expositions of any act or matter. It is impossible to define hate speech, says Gabriel Moens, Professor Gabriel Moens of Queensland University Law School. He says any speech potentially constitutes hate speech. And under those definitions, what the heck are we supposed to do?
Well, we found a way to
who's
save the
going to
channel.
decide? YouTube's not going to take a chance, right? They're going to go, well, sorry, mate, we don't know, because these vague laws are just so vague. I mean, you might say that you're covered under 124C, but under 124B, maybe not. And so as YouTube, we're not going to let you go on because we just don't want any political content. Oh, and we've got those federal laws. We don't want those 5% fines on all of our revenue because we only made 4% profit last year, so that'll send us broke.
I'm just saying, we found a way to save your channel, Damien. Just call it a satire of a centre-right show. It's all satire.
Thank you, Rob.
we're actually all
might say
Greens
that it's
members.
already that.
We're actually all friends with Adam Ban.
Like not to be.
With all the government crackdown on freedom of speech and digital IDs and marketing companies manipulating your information, you would be crazy not to have a virtual private network on your laptop and phone. In fact, all of your devices. I was once a bit afraid of how these things work, that they might, slow down my internet speed or be too complicated to set up. But private internet access is terrific. And when you buy from them, you're supporting the other side too, because they're one of our sponsors. So to help keep yourself safe from big government and big corporations with a VPN, get onto private internet access. We have done a fantastic deal just for other side viewers. You're going to get 83% off the usual price and 4 months free. That brings it down to just $2.68 a month, a half a cup of coffee. It's amazing. You just got to use the special access code that you can see on your screen right now. That is piavpn.com. piavpn.com/other side, and you'll get that discount if you do that, okay? It's super easy to download, super easy to get running. Literally just takes a few minutes, and it's always on. It didn't slow down my internet speed one bit. And a side benefit is that I can now watch Netflix using my Netflix account as if I'm in any country in the world, which opens up the whole global Netflix library to me. And best of all, by using PIA, you're supporting the other side in a very big way and helping us to keep on providing an alternative to the mainstream media focused on Aussie news. piavpn.com/other side. Get on it. If you like that clip, there's more where that came from in our full show, The Other Side, you can watch it right here, the latest episode. And please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button right here or down here. And remember to click that notification bell too. It all helps. Join us and become part of The Other Side.